Well, I'm delighted to be chairing my first meeting in front of so many senior councillors who I've learned so much over the years. I hope you'll accept my shortcomings should they be on in the meetings. I'm a bit shaken, but certainly not stirred. Right, so let's go on our first agenda item. Do we have any apologies?
Good evening, Chairman. We have apologies from Councillor Hibbert, Councillor Nettle, Councillor Broom, Councillor McGrath and Councillor Muse.
Any public question and statements?
Mr. Guthrie Adams has submitted a statement.
We all had a look. This one, do we need to respond? Okay. Would you like to read?
Mr. Guthrie Adams is not able to be present at full council this evening. Statement read, and I will do that on behalf of the chairman. This is titled Trans Rights. There is a consistent attempt to delegitimise trans people. Firstly, there is a dodgy claim that science shows there are only two sexes. There have always been intersex people who have external genitals that don't match their internal organs or hormones. And of course, testosterone levels are used to decide if a cis or trans woman can compete as a woman in athletics. Bible. Anti-trans activists use the Bible, Genesis 1 verse 27, male and female, he created them equal. They ignore St. Paul's egalitarian pronouncement to the Galatians that there is no male or female since you're all one in Christ. Trans people's lived experience. The LGBT divorce advocates expunge the trans history. Probably the first recorded person who was known to be born in the wrong body was the Emperor Heliogabalus, died in 2022 CE. He married a man and was referred to as Doma instead of the male Dominus. He wanted a sex change so that he could have a vagina. Some people argue that trans people have a mental illness that denies biology. This was shown to be false by Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who was known throughout Europe and America as the Einstein of sex. He produced and appeared in the first gay film. He published the scientific investigation of gender nonconformity with his 1910 Transvestites, the erotic drive to cross-dress, brackets, new concepts in human sexuality. On it, he argued, transvestites are women and men who feel reluctant or even refuse to dress in the clothing of their own sex. For them, there is an inherent drive to cross-dress is often more powerful than sexual drive itself. Transvestites have been subject to not only discrimination, but to also criminal prosecution for following what they, for them, is a born inclination. He also introduced the term transgender in 1923. He helped the first surgical transitioning of a medically declared man into her correct sex. His Institute for Sexual Science was the world's premier research facility for the education and counselling on transgender and gay sexual function and psychology. The Institute was the must-see stop for visiting celebrities like novelist Christopher Isherwood, whose insights are best known in the musical Cabaret. It became a gathering place for Berlin's thriving subculture of homosexual, social cross-dressers and true transgender people. He showed that transvestitism is firmly rooted in sexual psychological phenomena and cultural tradition in spite of religious, legal and social sanctions. His book is still the most comprehensive treatise on the subjects of transvestitism. Hirschfeld persuaded Berlin police that some people knew they were born in the wrong body. They were not cross-dressing to engage in public morals, which was illegal, but cross-dressing appropriately to their sex. The police agreed. Those holding a transvestite certificate signed by a doctor would therefore not be charged with public indecency. The first LGBTQ organization in America was based on Dr. Hirschfeld's pro-trans organization, with the additional of concern for the homeless. The advocates of the LGBT divorce deliberately overlook the trans element of the birth to the LGBTQ+ movement, the Stonewall Riot. The police did not raid the mafia-controlled Stonewall pub to stop them illegally selling liquor since they received kickbacks. Neither did they arrest dancing homosexuals. They arrested cross-dressers, including trans cross-dressers, as this was illegal. Where cross-dressing was in dispute, a lady police officer took the person into the loo and examined their genitals. It was an abuse of trans people that started the riot and the movement that the anti-LGBT now want to leave to their own devices. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Annie. So I don't think we need to discuss this. So it's just a basically statement and no response necessary. Okay, so we move on to agenda item 3, councillor's question and statement. Do we have any?
Councillor Rogers would like to make a statement, and so would Councillor Sample.
So Rogers, floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. Very quickly, just to confirm that the Mayor's appeal bank account is finally open on the 4th of May. The signatories are myself, Councillor King, Councillor Dalton. So I've got all your bits and pieces here, your checkbook, your paying in book. We'll find somewhere safe within the Guildhall to keep it. There's £100 in there, which is a donation from myself to kick off the account. And just to let you know that over the weekend, now that we've got the bank account open, I applied for charity status from the Charity Commission. And I think that takes about 8 to 12 weeks to come through. I hope it's not as rigorous as opening a bank account. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. May I take the opportunity to thank you and Joe for your hard work. So hopefully that will come very handy for our future mayors as well. Thank you. The second statement, is it from Councillor Sample?
Chair, please accept my congratulations on your appointment as Mayor of the City of Salisbury.
Thank you.
And I apologise that I wasn't there to see it, but I was there actually, but he didn't know where I was. So my statement is as follows. Salisbury Museum is undergoing major refurbishment. During the weekend of the 5th and 6th of August, it is planned that the Salisbury Giant and Hobnob will be moved from the museum to Salisbury Guildhall for a short time. This is, of course, dependent upon the weather, and it is possible that if the weather is poor, then the Giant and Hobnob will remain at the museum. However, this provides Salisbury City Council to have a formal photograph taken with the civic party, including the Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Salisbury City Councillors, the Lord Lieutenant, Deputy Lieutenant, Beadles and City Clerk, something that has not taken place in living memory. Can I ask that the council officers liaise with Salisbury Museum to facilitate the taking of that photograph if the council agrees?
Thank you. And may I also thank you, although you've been missed, but not recognized because of the giant you carried. So thank you for your doing. So do we need to get a vote on this, or? Any councillors wishes to say something, or the will of the council of this agenda?
I'll say, yeah, I'd endorse that completely, Councillor Sample. I think it's a great idea and it's something that we should all get behind. As you say, the Giant's not been out for a very long time with all of us together, so I think it should be. So yeah, absolutely, I'd support that.
Yes, Councillor Charleston, please.
Thank you very much. Yep, absolutely. I think it's a great idea. Could I mention that it's the Salisbury Summer Fair that supports the hospice on Saturday? So when we're looking at dates, just bearing that in mind, I'm sure others people want to go into that as well.
Excellent. Anybody else? Yes, Councillor Tom.
Just a quick word of thanks to Councillor Sample for ensuring the Giant keeps moving. And it'll be nice to get the real Giant moving. And yeah, totally supportive of all of this effort. Thank you.
Anybody else? Sorry.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm part of the Salisbury Museum Inclusion Panel. We had our first meeting last week. And there is an opportunity for neighbours, groups of friends to actually book their own photo with the giant and the hobnob. And obviously I endorse having the official photo.
Anybody else? So I think Councillor Sample general consensus is that we are all in favour. It's a great idea, so we'll certainly be supporting, and we look forward to taking that picture. Me being at the front. Okay. Okay, agenda item 4, the minutes of the previous meetings. So I think at this, I need to say something that from this meeting onward, are we approved of the last meeting? Yeah. We need to approve or second it. I move from the chair that we all agree. And yeah, sorry. We need to propose it. Okay, I propose from the chair. Second. And I have show of hands. Yep, that's done. Thank you. Number 5, declaration of interest. Do we have any declaration of interest? Councillors, no? Dispensation.
No dispensations have been requested.
Okay. Comes to the chairman's announcement. Oh, firstly, I think I wanted to thank our past Mayor, Councillor Corbyn, for your fantastic mayorship over the years. You have done tremendously well. We did have something for you, but I'm afraid it was a bit delayed. So it's basically presenting your life in front of you. So it will be postponed to next one. But I'd just like to say how wonderful you did over the years, and thank you. I have a lot to learn, and I think I have to follow quite a hard shoes to follow as well. So thank you for all you did. So we'll leave that for next meeting. So the joy of being the mayor. I just wanted to share some of the things that I've done over the last month. I have had 33 engagement, kicking off with the choosing of the top dog. From the moment choosing the top dog, I thought, hold on, I'm going for a ride here. So maybe, hopefully, I become a top mayor one day as well. So, so from all this event, from visiting from brain injury survivors, 4 mayor makings, including Calne, Malmesbury, Chippenham, and Bath, many radio interviews from BBC Wiltshire, Gloucester, and Radio Odstock. Had the opportunity to welcome our German ambassador, also attending a talk with Arundels on that evening. It doesn't stop here. I attended 3 garden fete in Cathedral, organized by Friends of Cathedral, Silver Salisbury, and New McNeil Opportunity Centre. So far, I attended 2 citizenship ceremony where people took oath from all walks of life, from Fiji to Jamaica, from Germany to Nepal. It's been really wonderful. It's one of those happiest moments where you really see a genuine smile from a lot of people. Also visiting 3 restaurant related. One is finding solution to the restaurant industry in London, and a garden expansion of Cafe Diwali, and recently relaunch of the Alum restaurant. It just gets to show Salisbury still has life. I'm also very pleased to address everyone on a Friday prayer on the Muslim Association, Salisbury, as a mayor. Normally, I would do that as a secretary. I attended 3 similar events, remembering our heroes. Excuse me. The D-Day, the Falkland War, and the recent Armed Forces Day. Endless fundraising event I had attended. Very popular, our recent council motor show, which has been very successful, attended by a lot of people. It was packed, the town centre. not counting the private invites that I've been to the newly cinema Everyman and visiting local businesses to say hello, to make them feel comfortable and special, including our very own market store. So those I have, and hopefully I'll have more to share with you in the previous following month. Yep. Yes, and one more thing is also from this meeting onward, the name of the proposer and the seconder of the motions will be recorded routinely in the minutes of all meetings, with the exception of the Planning and Development Committee for planning application. This is to aid transparency over the decision making. So I hope you'll take note. By bit. So the next agenda item we have is the administration leaders announcement. Do we have, yes, Annie.
Thank you. I can't believe that you've done 33 engagements already. That's going some. You'll get exhausted. Right, can I say that the City Council were delighted to see our lovely Churchill Gardens used to such good effect as a backdrop for Wiltshire Creative's stunning production of The Tempest. Our first grass cutting round of the season took 30 working days to complete. That's how much grass we've got to cut. The spring weather was ideal for the grass to grow quickly, and we've had new team members to train, various bank holidays, and some staff vacancies to contend with. But our team are aiming for 5 grass cuts this year, whereas under the old ID Verdi contract, there were 3. So that's good news. On the events front, following a busy coronation weekend, our themed street sellers markets are continuing to be very successful, offering family fun without the need to spend a lot of money, which is one of the priorities of this administration. The dog show themed event was particularly popular, and thank you to Councillor Hock for presenting the prizes. It was quite chaotic. The dinosaurs are also proving to be perennial favourites, and we've got farm animals coming up next on July the 9th. The motor show, featuring more than 100 vehicles of all ages, attracted a lot of attention, while this weekend we celebrated armed forces. Our staff have worked extremely hard over the summer weekends to put on such a range of events, and we are very grateful for their professionalism and their enthusiasm. Our Accessibility and Inclusion Task Group is off to a great start, working in conjunction with Wiltshire Highways officers on identifying where metal barriers across pathways can make life difficult for wheelchair users and parents with buggies, so that these obstacles can be removed or made more easily negotiable. Some councillors working with the disability group DIGS have undertaken disability access audits of our parks and open spaces, and there remains more work to do on this, which I'm sure Councillor Bolwell will be telling you about shortly. The council leaders have begun a conversation with the Conservative group about consultation over future budgets, and survey materials will be prepared to engage with the public. Simultaneously, we've been trialling recording of meetings. City now has to meet the bill for the parish poll, which was just under £40,000. The leaders have had a positive conversation with the Police and Crime Commissioner about antisocial behaviour issues, and we were very pleased to hear that the city will have 10 new officers by September, and that recruitment of PCSOs is continuing. The location of the new policing hub has still not been resolved, and an application to site it at High Post as part of an industrial development has just been turned down. We continue to build relationships with our neighbouring parishes and to participate in the Place Partnership. You can see the minutes on the Traditional Original website. And looking forward to the impact of Bradbeers and Primark on the city's economy in October, and we're hoping that customers won't be deterred by the combination of ongoing parking issues and Fishton Street improvement works. We are hopeful too that the mural on the hoarding outside Debenhams will be reused within the city once Bradbeers are up and running. A contract has been signed for work on our new depot to meet the needs of our teams. A new contractor has also been signed up to work on our Christmas lights.
We've taken part in 2 consultation events organised by Wiltshire Council about how the planning system is working, brackets or not, for parishes. And our own neighbourhood plan is progressing more slowly than we had hoped. It is currently with a designer being prepared for submission to Wiltshire Council in the form that they require before we can receive their further comments. Thank you.
Right, so can we go back onto the next agenda item? Yeah, do we have any questions? Chairman. Referral of the minutes. So can I take them in all in one block instead of saying, or would you like me to? Yeah, Councillor Tom.
Just the last 2 on the list haven't been put out yet. So the community services 12th of June, planning and development 19th of June. They'll have to be deferred to the next full council.
Noted. Thank you, Councillor. Yep. We approve the rest, excepting the last 2. Can I show of hands, please? Carried. Committee reports. I have the chairman. Chairman of committees. Yep. Councillor Wells.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not going to produce a detailed report from the Environment and Climate Committee because avoid duplication. Reference has already been made by Councillor Riddle to some of the issues around grass cutting and the relocation. And also we have, after a three-month lapse, Mark Reed will be doing a full report at next Monday's Environment and Climate Committee meeting. Just like to thank Mark and his team for his hard work, and apart from the excessive growing season we've had and trying to assimilate into new premises, we've had recruitment issues over the winter following the transition to taking all the services in-house, which has created short gaps in recruitment, which mainly impacted on tree pruning and hedge pruning during the winter. But the grass cutting schedule has been established and followed through, which is credit to Mark and his team. There'll be a full update on environmental policy plan, and the tree strategy draft will be agreed. A final version of that will come through, as well as a number of issues. It's quite an extensive meeting on Monday, with the agenda and the papers will be circulated this week.
Thank you, Councillor Wells. So we expect to see the full report on the next full council, hopefully.
The full report will be available at next Monday's meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Seeing the length of the agenda, I'll keep it brief. The Events, Markets and Grants Subcommittee has had, I think, 2 meetings since the last full council. Many of the events have already been referenced in the group leaders' statements, so I won't echo those. The grants we have awarded, sort of slightly disappointingly, but it's no one's fault, I suppose, but we have awarded most of the money this year for the grants. I think we have something like £4,500 left to award for the rest of the financial year, but we have changed our policy regarding multi-year grants, so hopefully we won't see this problem in future subsequent years. Thank you.
Yep. Councillor Corbyn.
Thank you, Chair. Community services, it's great what the work that Sarah and the team does. Obviously the pantry and all the work that goes into that. And they did the big help out where people delivered, donated produce for the pantry at the end of the mayoral year. So that's important, and it's always important to donate. But we're very pleased with what the team's doing. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Tom.
The chair of the planning committee, it's the busiest committee, as I tell everyone, each full council meeting. Members are most encouraged to come along and join in. But yeah, we're the busiest meeting, and we meet every 4 weeks, and the next meeting is the 24th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Bliss.
Thank you, Chair. Just to point out for anybody who might not be aware that there wasn't a Finance and Governments meeting, or there hasn't been since the last full council meeting. Next meeting is on Monday, the 31st of July.
Thank you. Right, I think that we, yes, Councillor Sample.
Chairman, I've got a question for the chairman of that committee, if I'm allowed to.
Yes.
Chair, thank you. With respect to what we've heard recently, just from Councillor Riddle about the cost of the parish poll, £40,000. Mr. Chairman, where are you going to get that from?
Thank you, Councillor Sample. That's a very good question. Well, we haven't really got any alternative other than to take it from our reserves, unless anyone else has that idea, any other ideas at this point. But obviously that will be a topic of discussion at F&G on the 31st of July.
Does the clerk wants to come into this?
No, just to echo Councillor Bayliss's point that this will be discussed at F&G in July.
We'll just ask Councillor Riddle to turn off the mic for a second.
Yes, of course, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move to the next item, agenda 11. Do we have anybody else before I? No, okay. Outside representative. Do we have any outside representative? Councillors wants to say something else? Councillor Stanley, yeah.
Yeah, I should be very brief, talking about allotments. And they've been doing an awful lot of work up there since winter, and have managed to get the trading hut, which is up there on the estate, on the allotments, and has, with the help of the Environment Agency who loaned the space for them to do that, that was possible. And now a new plan has happened. There's been facilities for the long-term usage of the huts was organised, and with the help of the city council, allowing the use of a large area of hard standing for 3 units, which are not suitable for allotments. Having put in for a grant, they've also awarded an area board grant, £5,000, to actually buy 3 new containers to go and to make that workable in the future. Lots of things have managed to go on, lots of outings and so on, and lots of members have gone up this year. There were 287, including 71 new members, so it's clear that there's a lot of need for the allotments. Now, having had that big grant, they're going to, it doesn't stop there, because they need to get those containers in the right place, and anybody who would like to volunteer to help to move them would be gratefully accepted. And keep an eye on the Salisbury allotments.co.uk web page, and hope that we will by the end of the August, hope that will be in working order. Are there any questions about that?
Any question, anyone? Thank you, Councillor Stanway, for your update. Okay, number 12, annual governance statement. So I believe our clerk will present that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will give an introduction to items 11, 12 and 13, which both are concerning the Annual Governance and Accountability Return, which is known as the AGAR. The AGAR is a set of documents and financial statements that local councils are required to prepare and submit each year. It is an essential part of the external audit process and serves several purposes. Accountability. The AGAR provides a transparent and accountable overview of the council's financial activities, governance procedures, and decision-making processes. It allows the council to demonstrate its stewardship of public funds and adherence to legal and financial regulations. Compliance. The AGAR helps the local councils comply with statutory requirements and regulations. It includes information on the council's financial management, internal control procedures, and adherence to relevant laws and regulations. Transparency. By making the AGAR publicly available, local councils provide transparency and openness to their constituents. It allows residents and other stakeholders to review the council's financial performance, budgeting decisions, and governance arrangements. External audit. The AGAR serves as a basis for the external audit of the council's financial statements. Once the council completes the AGAR, it is submitted to an external auditor appointed by the Audit Commission or other approved auditor. The auditor reviews the AGAR and issues an audit opinion assessing the council's compliance and the accuracy of its financial statements. Financial assurance. The AGAR helps provide assurance to the council and its stakeholders that the financial operations are conducted in a responsible and proper manner. It ensures that the council's accounts are accurate, complete, and reflective of the council's financial position. The AGAR typically consists of several sections, including the annual governance statement, the accounting statement, and an internal audit report. Each section requires specific information related to the council's governance arrangements, financial transactions, assets and liabilities, income and expenditure, and other relevant details. So the first item, item 12, is where we consider the annual governance statement. The papers provided for agenda items 12 and 13 are the same papers. So with regard to the annual governance statement, under the audit and accounts regimes 2015, smaller authorities are required to prepare accounting statements for the year ended 31st of March 22, carry out a review of the effectiveness of the system of internal control, and prepare the annual governance statements. The smaller authority, of which we are one, must also ensure that prior to July 2022, it submits, 2023, I think that means, it submits these requirements in a form of a completed and approved AGAR to the external auditor. The annual governance statement must be approved prior to the accounting statements within the correct order of business on the agenda, and this must be evidenced by the minutes, the meeting's minutes and references and dates. So this is why we must do the governance statement ahead of the accounting statement. So in respect to the annual governance statement, firstly, the council must consider the internal audit work performed and the internal audit arrangements in place between the 1st of April 22 and 31st of March 2023. Both an interim and final audit have been undertaken, and the finding of the auditor have been provided as an annex to this report. Secondly, the councillors must reassure themselves that the council has in place arrangements for ensuring that its business is conducted in accordance with the law, regulations, proper practices, and that public money is safeguarded and properly accounted. The council's arrangements for showing adherence to the annual governance statement are the assertions detailed in the report. So if we look at that report, I think it's this one, if we keep. In Annex B, we set out what the assertion is, and we set out what's been put in place to allow you to feel confident that you can make that assertion. So what the annual governance audit asks us to do is agree these statements, which if you look at number 1, you're agreeing to say we have put in place arrangements for the effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of accounting statements. And the report shows you how the council has met that assertion. So you should feel confident that you have met that assertion. So you are asked to agree these statements 1 to 9. And those the information that you require in order to give you the assurance that you can answer confidently those statements with a yes is provided in the report. So if I stop there, Chairman, and invite any questions on this part of the AGAR.
So we have them both together read, as you heard. I'm sure you've, do we have any questions? Councillor Dalton, I'm sure you have read every single page, so do you have any questions? Because you are very good at it over the years, I found.
Thank you for inviting me to talk. Maybe I'll just move the recommendation. I'll move the paper. To be honest, this is standard. We do this every year. There's nothing new here, nothing hidden, nothing secret, and nothing we shouldn't know as members.
Thank you. So any more questions? So I move from the chair the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Yep. Can I have show of hands, please? It's carried.
Thank you, Chairman. So what happens next is we will tick the yes boxes in all these statements, and the Chairman and I will sign the statement, and that is submitted along with other documents to the external auditor. So that's the first part. The second part then is the accounting statements, which is this part of the AGAR, where the numbers. Councillors should note the opinion of the internal auditor as stated in paragraph 4.2 of the report, that sample testing did not uncover any errors or misstatements that required reporting, that no significant weaknesses in the internal controls were identified, and that systems and internal procedures were well established. Therefore, can I please ask the Chairman to confirm that councillors have considered the accounting statements as a whole and ask councillors to approve this financial part of the AGAR.
Thank you. I'll repeat again. So are we all content? Can I have show of hands, please, again? Right, it's carried.
So that again is signed by the Chairman, and this goes off with the information to the external auditor. For information, then there is now, after this meeting, then we have to take various steps, including publishing our draft accounts and allowing electors to come and make an appointment to come and examine the accounts if they so wish. That's part of the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got 12 and 13 done. So 14, strategic plan 2022-2023 report and progress.
So I've provided a very short report summarising what is shown in introducing the strategic plan report, and then I've given a report which looks like this, detailing what's happened against each of the, I think it is 102 actions which sit behind the strategic plan. This report is a narrative and qualitative assessment of where we are and the progress made against all of these actions. We have many members of the SMT here today who would, if there are any questions arising from their particular areas, they are here to answer should that need be. Thank you.
Okay, so the floor is anybody's. Yes, Councillor Joe.
I was just wondering at G15, it's about developing a place-based strategy for all ages, and that's something that hasn't started yet. I wondered if there was a plan when that was going to start and where it would be happening across the city.
I think this will be a resource issue at the moment with the for the environmental services team with the TUPE and in-housing that's taken a priority this year. I hope we would commence that in 2024. We will be working with other departments across the council, particularly, for example, the communities team, because they have a lot of experience with their community activity leaders about the importance of play and links with the sports forum. So it will be bringing those parts of the council together to make sure we get a comprehensive and joined up strategy.
Yep, Councillor Hocking.
Chair, thank you. So, yeah, my question is around considering a street scene app to be rolled out for public reporting. How are we going to do that? How much is it going to? We're thinking of developing a street scene app for public reporting. How much is that going to cost? And when do we think we'll even be attempting to do this? And I asked that on the basis that there sort of already is an app, although we're working on it at county to make it better than it is, called the My Wilts app. Now that's a public reporting system. Why would the city council be developing their own? Thank you.
Yeah.
So when the action plan was agreed, there was quite a lot of dissatisfaction with the My Wiltshire app. I was very happy to hear at the recent area board that several steps have been taken to improve the app and more work is still being done. Between the drafting of the plan and now, we have focused on an internal reporting app, which is used by our staff to monitor and report on our assets and to our estate, and we have focused our effort there because we believe that is more useful in the short term. We're keeping the external reporting app under review for the reasons you suggest, Councillor Hocking. We don't want to duplicate, but when this report was written, when the plan was written, there was quite a lot of dissatisfaction with the My Wiltshire app. But if that improves and that dissatisfaction fades away, the need for this council to have something external also diminishes. And we've focused our efforts on using an app internally to improve our service.
So if I get this correct, this is just a backup plan if they haven't improved the Wiltshire Council app.
Well, I think we will continue to review the efficiency of My Wiltshire against our needs, and if it meets those needs and the needs of the public, we won't need to pursue our own app.
Sounds reasonable. Anybody else? So we know the report, everyone? Can I have show of hands, please? Right. Noted. Right. Well, in that case, I propose from the chair, perhaps. Councillor Baldwin, second. Okay. So can I have show of hands again, please? Yes.
Chair, sorry, point of order. Do you actually need a proposer and seconder to note?
I've been asked by the clerk to do so, that's why. And
not
the suggested from this meeting onward, all the agenda item will be proposed and seconded, so it will be noted. Yep. Right, our next item is 15, Accessibility and Inclusion Task Group Report. We have Jenny? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I can tell you that I have since took over after Councillor Blackwood stepped down. I hope to follow in her footsteps and work as hard as she has, and I will be knocking your door. The plan is, moving forward, we were going to have a meeting with Gary Taylor, who, as it stands, will be attending the DIGS group on the 26th of July. So we're going to attend that, myself and an officer, save duplicating. Our next meeting is the 25th of July. I can tell you that from here on in, all of our meetings will be at the Bemerton Centre, because it was decided that was the best place for parking and anything else. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Baldwin, and thank you for all you're doing. This is very important and very needy as well, so I'm sure you'll do a great job, and we are here to help as much as we can. Yes, Councillor Charles.
Just on accessibility, I think it was mentioned already about DIGS and their play park audit. For those who haven't managed to get around their play park in person, there is a template you can ask KES for. I tried it myself. When did we go to the play park? Yesterday, day before, I can't remember. It's pretty easy to use. And if you're not sure about the accessibility of your swings or roundabouts, whatever, I just took a photo of it and sent it to KES for her to have a look at. So for those who haven't managed to get around, that's an option.
Can you kindly circulate this template so everybody's aware, all the councillors? Thank you. Okay, agenda item number, anybody else? No, okay. Agenda item number 16, Marketplace Stage Task Group Report. Our name is Councillor King.
Thank you. Just to say this is very slow, mainly because I was hoping to be able to put up a temporary stage for nothing. Perhaps I was disillusioned about that, but that's where we were. So what the task group decided was that we would put a temporary stage, if we could get hold of one, in the market square. And I've been looking at the possibility of having one there for a couple of months in the summer, a couple of months in the winter, around Christmas time, because there are a lot of schools who are wanting to put their performances on. And as we all know, with school performances, it's usually mums and dads and grandparents who go and see it. And the thought of it going on in the centre of the city was very exciting for the schools. That's exciting for me too. So I'm looking at the costings. I've got a couple of companies I'm looking at in order to do that for a couple of months in the summer. It's July next week, I'm aware. And perhaps November, December, and getting some stuff then. And then we can ascertain how much that will be used by the community. And then hopefully we can go from there as looking at something permanent. So, but this needs to be funded, and I would not ask the council for funding because I'm aware of the situation that the council are in at the moment, that there isn't anything to spare. So once I've got those costings, I should be trying to find out other ways of trying to raise money to pay for the rent. So sorry I haven't got any further. There's still enthusiasm. I'm asked almost weekly what's happening about it, and I felt a bit sad that we hadn't got further, but sometimes these things take a long time to actually happen. But I'm still positive, and I think the councillors involved in the task group are still positive. The feeling I get across the city is positiveness. So it's going to happen, I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King, for your update. And I think keep at it. It will happen, I'm sure. Right, okay. Agenda item number 17, standing orders.
Thank you. This is to approve a minor change to standing orders. The change has been highlighted in the paper on the internet. It's a change to paragraph 3Z, which describes public questions and statements. The subparagraphs only talk about questions, and I wanted clarity to show that statements were dealt with in the same way to avoid any ambiguity in the standing orders. So it's a modest change to one paragraph.
Do we have any questions, and are we all content? Yes, Councillor Sample.
I'm supportive of the amendment. I think it makes perfect sense. Very happy with it. Not quite sure how it came to committee, but either way, I'm delighted. Chair, I've just referred to you as chair. And of course, you're not chair. You're the mayor of the city. I think there is a distinction between the office of mayor of the city and merely the chair of committee. A number of times in the agenda and in the minutes. For instance, on today's agenda, item 7, it refers to the chairman's announcements. Of course, those are the mayor's announcements. And I personally feel that really we ought to reflect within our agenda and our minutes your status as the mayor of the city. And I wondered whether that was just a matter of practice or whether it was something that needed to be in the standing orders. But I would like to see from now on, if it's possible, for that recognition of your office to be included and for us to refer to you as the mayor, because that's what you are by our vote.
Thank you. How kind. I'm sure I will get some questions and ask the clerk. But yeah, I think it makes sense. But again, I am the chair of this meeting as well, so it's rightly so that is called chairman. But out of this Guildhall, I am the mayor of Salisbury. So either way, we can choose one. But I'm sure the clerk will want to say something.
This change to standing orders has been brought before full council because only full council has the authority to approve a change to standing orders. That's why it's been brought this evening. I can't make this change alone. With regard to mayor and chairman, I think the chairman of the meeting has described it very well. So I would, as we were, would be my recommendation.
But thank you for that. Hopefully in the future, someone will put a proposal forward for that.
I make that proposal that it be considered by the committee and brought back at a future meeting.
Do you want to repeat that again, Councillor?
You said that it's something that perhaps would be brought back, so I'm going to ask that you consider that it be considered by the appropriate committee and brought back to a future meeting, a recommendation on this matter.
Yep, noted. Any more questions? Are we all happy? Yeah, ready to, let's propose. As a chairman, I'll propose. Second. Are we all in favour? Show of hands. Thank you. Members' annual reports 2022, 2023. Yeah.
So I think the report speaks for itself, but this is just a report that shows all the councillors' attendance to the various committees over the year from May last year to May this year. And as requested at last year's meeting, we haven't recorded substitutions. So we've only recorded if you were a member, whether you was there or you wasn't. We haven't recorded whether you were a substitute. If you were attended as a substitution, you weren't recorded on this report.
Yes, Councillor King.
I wonder if you might just check through, sorry, I didn't have time, but check through the planning attendance for me, because I know that I missed June and July's, but I think I made all the rest, but I may be mistaken, but I've looked through my diary, and if I had clashes, then I would give an apologies. If you could check that, that would be great. Thank you.
From the chair, I just wanted to ask something, although it all looks good, but why are we not adding, whereas previously we used to have a star mark saying someone covered one of the councillors. Why are we not counting that anymore? Because sometimes it's quite good practice when we can't attend, we ask fellow councillors to substitute for us, knowing that there will be a mark on the agenda. So it's a good practice to have, but it encourages other councillors to actually do the substitution as well. So if we take that away, I'm not sure if that's going to be any good or not, but this is just my observation. Yes, Councillor.
As a party of one, I'd like to echo that. If I can't be here, I have an arrangement with the Liberals and the Labour group that I'm happy for them to substitute for me. Clearly, I do my best to attend everything and to attend other committees of which I'm not a core member as well. But it is sensible, if I've made an arrangement and spoken to somebody and asked them to report my views on a committee that I can't get to, which I do on every occasion, then it makes no sense not to record it. And it works against people who are independent councillors and not members of a party group who can work it out amongst themselves.
Thank you, Councillor Rideau. As you mentioned too, I'm apolitical at the moment, so you can always count me in as well to cover for you should you can't attend a meeting.
I'll cover you for as well, Councillor, but if you want any time, just ask the question.
Okay. So what is the proposal? So yeah, yes, Councillor Dalton.
Chair, thank you. It's nothing to do with me, but I note that Lynn Blackwood. You don't have next to her that she was only a council member since November, I think.
Sorry, so are we okay with that to change?
Yes, so you're asking for the same comment that was shown against councillor Wills, which shows she's state from which
And
she's
you've
become.
got, yeah,
unfit.
correct,
Yes,
and
we
you've got
can make
member
that
from
adjustment.
July 22. And also the disparity on 2 meetings out of 8. I mean, it's not possible for a member that's only been here for 6, 8 or 10 months to attend eight meetings when meetings have been held before they were elected, if that makes sense.
Yes,
So-
that's why there's a comments column to show
Yeah,
that
but I
point.
mean, 2 meetings out of 4 or whatever it is, which they could have attended would be a better way of recording it.
But I think on the underneath there is a comments explaining the council has started from that end, so that kind of covers the answers. However, I mean, as you said, Clark, that proposal, as the chair, if I can, I would like to propose that there is a mark to be noted that there have been substitute. Sorry, Councillor
Can I
Charlton.
just ask a question? Sorry, because previously last year it was so if you were substituting, for example, Councillor Riddle, if somebody substituted for you, that wouldn't be recorded as you attending on that report. Previously, if it was, for example, Councillor Hocking, who just said he'd substitute for you, if he attended in your absence, he substituted for you, he would be recorded as attending that committee once. You wouldn't be recorded as attending that committee a 4th or 5th time. And that's the way the report used to look. And my feedback, the feedback last year was that it was confusing when we did include substitutions in this report, hence why this last year we've taken them out. So, yeah, that's my question.
Well, I think it's potentially misleading now, this system. I don't see why we can't, as I think you suggested, Chairman, just if somebody is substituted, just have an asterisk or something next to their name and don't record the person who's not on the committee as having attended. So like, you know, if Councillor King substitutes for me, because I'm off, which just have an asterisk to say that the substitution arrangement has been made and leave it at that.
Yeah, because I'm confused as well, Janine, because how I understood the previous is when you had the star underneath, there was a description saying that is the councillor has been substituted. So people are aware. So if we keep to the old system, I would go with that. Go on, Councillor Charleston.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm just wondering why it's so desperately important to have it all recorded in this way anyway. I mean, it's useful to have this, and it's useful for us, for our residents, to hold us to accountable at what we've attended and what we've not done and what we have done. But has anybody looked at this since last year and gone, well, did you attend, did you not attend? I'm just unclear why it's so desperately important.
So just to, that's my understanding. Let's say the time when you were off was a good time. It was an important time. You couldn't attend the meeting. But what you have done is you've gone out to your group, say, please, can you substitute for me? You know, so what happens is it encourage, even though in your name there will be a star button saying you've managed to find someone to substitute. So there is a full meeting going on. So in a way, encourage other councillors to kind of be substitute. And if you get rid of that, even if you said if you couldn't attend, maybe others will not bother. That's my understanding how I think take it on it. I'll come back to you, Councillor Deputy. Councillor Rim.
Councillor Riddle already basically said what I was going to say, but I was just going to say I don't think it needs to say who attended as your substitute, but just saying the number of the ones that you didn't attend that somebody substituted for you would be useful.
Councillor Hocking.
Chair, it's funny, isn't it? Every year we have this debate about this very bit of paper, and every year no one can agree on the way we should work. Janine must be tearing out her hair because after the last meeting, she said we don't like this, we like this. So she's gone away and done exactly what we've asked for, and now we're all complaining about it again. So look, I'd propose, can we defer this until some of us have sat round the table and worked out what we actually want to say and how we're going to present it, and just finally, for once and for all, put this to bed. This will be the 10th year that I've sat down and we've had an argument. Well, not an argument, but we've all sat there and said we don't understand the point. So I move we defer this item, please. And I have a seconder.
Just before
can I go straight to the vote?
I'd like to listen to Councillor Dalton as well and Caroline Corbett.
Yeah, I mean, Chair, thank you for allowing me to come back. I mean, Sven's right. I mean, you know, we debate this for half an hour every year and I bang my head really. Why are we debating? Go to the minutes of that meeting and look who's substituted. If you're that interested on having it printed here, just go to the minutes of F&G or whatever it is to see who substituted that particular councillor. You know, it's on the Wiltshire, for Wiltshire councillors, it's on the website, attendance, and whether you attended a committee, that's another debate, isn't it? Whether you attended a committee, which is never seems to be recorded here. But just to prove this, if you're that worried, go to planning and development to see who substituted you on that particular day. It's all there.
Councillor Corbett and Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to say, why couldn't we just have a line at the bottom that said there was, in this year, there was 7 substitutions? It doesn't matter who substituted for who, because people will look at the correct minutes, won't they? But it's right to be documented, especially for those that are in smaller proportions.
Thank you. Councillor Ian Thomas.
Yeah, can we have a line on there for those who got bored and fell asleep while we were debating the subject?
Thank you. So are we?
Yeah.
So we have a proposal, we have a second there to defer this for all councillors to.
So,
yeah.
with your permission, Chairman, I'll clarify. So you're deferring this decision about how to present these, the attendance, and it's to be discussed by all group leaders and brought back to full council in due course.
Are we all content with this?
Been proposed
and it's
proposed,
seconded by
seconded.
Councillor Charleston.
So Hawking.
Can we have show of hands, please? Thank you. Councillor Thomas, if you can just.
Hang on, hands up so we can count, please.
Yeah, what we're talking about? What we're talking about?
Well, I'll discuss it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right,
Excellent.
thank you.
All right. And there is also another one, members' allowance. If you have, if you can note on that one. Are we all content? Yep. I'm all ears, Councillor Dalton. Okay. Moving on. Road precedents. Are we all?
This is to formally note the order of precedence. There shouldn't be any surprises within this report. It just a moment where we note it as a formality.
Are we all content? Show of hands, please. Right. Committee membership. Do we have any changes or anybody would like to comment?
So this is the list that Janine and I believe to be the committee membership. Again, we just try and note it once a year to make sure we all understand who's on the committees before any replacements take place during the year. So we're all clear on who's on the committees.
Any questions? Yes, Councillor Tom Corbett.
Just to say that since you were made chair, we've already had a planning and development committee meeting and the chair and vice chair have been agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. Note. Yep. Are we just noting this or do we need to, we don't need to propose or second? Noted, that's fine. Right, code of conduct. Just presenting that. Okay.
So the report introduces a revised code of conduct for the consideration of the council. The council must have a code of conduct and the existing code of conduct is shown on our website. It was last reviewed in 2020. Since that time, or maybe contemporaneously, the Local Government Association developed a new consultation following consultation with local authorities and other bodies, including parish councils. Indeed, the City Council took part in that consultation and our response to that is appended to this report. I won't go through all the revisions to the Code of Conduct, but that is, and I won't read the report to you, but it is a more comprehensive and robust code of conduct that has been developed for the principal authority level, but also has been adopted by many parish councils. Locally, that is, locally, Wilton have adopted it, and Trowbridge and Wiltshire Council. More distantly, this has been adopted by Dunstable Town Council, by Frome Town Council, Blandford, Shaftesbury, Sevenoaks and Chichester. So now at the beginning of this new municipal year, it is an opportunity to us to revise our code of conduct so we have it ready if ever we should need to rely on it.
Okay, councillors, do we have a question on that one? Yes. Councillor Sample.
Yes, Chair. I've referred to page 21 of this document, which is and 10.2, with the recommendation that Wiltshire Council's monitoring officer may be able to offer mediation or conciliation role, or it may be necessary to seek independent advice. Chair, I'm all in favour of seeking independent advice, but not at any cost. And recent events at Salisbury City Council lead me to believe that Wiltshire Council are taking the mickey out of us. The charge for the parish poll of £40,000, which we're not quite sure where we're going to get that money from, is an indication of what happens when Wiltshire Council take the mickey. And I'd like to know what we're going to do if we have cause to call on an independent advisor to deal with a grievance situation. Are we going to do it at any cost, or are we going to get a quote from them beforehand and then make our minds up whether we want to spend another, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20, who knows? Pick a figure out of the air, double it, and hope that no one notices.
Thank you, councillor. I think you make an important point as well. It certainly shouldn't be any cost of anything when it comes to council matters. So, yeah, that is something that we can discuss. Yes, councillor Ian, you want to say something? No? So how are we going to alter this?
I don't believe we should alter it. This is the draft code as put forward by the Local Government Association. If we were to commission a service of mediation or conciliation, we would commission that as we do any other service when we find out the cost before we agree to it.
Are you content with this, councillor Sample?
Chairman, as long as that results in us not spending out another £40,000 from something that we weren't expecting.
Surely, councillor, this is not going to happen because I don't think in previous consultation costed that much. Councillor Rogers.
I don't think we need to make heavy weather of this, Chairman. This has come down from the LGA. It's had immense scrutiny. It's been adopted by numerous local authorities, town and parish councils. I think we should adopt it without any debate. Thank you.
I will second that certainly, but I think all due respect, councillor Sample did make a good point, because at all cost, because then you are basically spiring. So let's adopt. And yeah, that's right. So we're going to need to propose this. Yeah, I propose it from that. Yep. Charles. Oh, don't propose. Okay, I'll let Councillor Charles to propose.
I'll second.
A second. Are we all in favour? Can I show of hands? Carried, unanimous. Okay.
Not unanimous. I'd like to have my dissent recorded to the decision on the basis that I believe Wiltshire Council are taking the mickey when they charge us.
With regret, you didn't ask for a recorded vote before the vote in accordance with standing orders, so your dissent will not be recorded.
Right, so the second one, 22, civility and respect pledge.
So this links with the previous item, really. The National Association of Local Councils and the Society of Local Council Clerks with One Voice Wales have developed a civility and respect pledge. This is to address this is to put civility and respect at the top of the agenda and start a change culture in the local council sector, which across the sector, bullying between councillors to each other and councillors to clerks and clerks to council is a problem across the sector. And this pledge and the work which sits under it, I hope councillors have had an opportunity to look at the website to see what training and resources are available there. This is attempting to change that culture. The pledge is set out in the report with the key parts bullet pointed in bold. And I believe that this council would be able to sign the pledge because those bullet points it can meet fully. So my recommendation is that the council agree to sign up to this pledge. This has also been adopted locally by Chippenham Town Council, Royal Wootton Bassett Town Council, by Wilton, Melksham and Trowbridge have already signed up to this, and over 1,254 parishes across the country have done so.
Do we have any question on that one? I think it just shouldn't be about council or clerk or councillors. I think respect should be shown to everyone and everybody, even outside of the council. So that's what makes us human. So we should respect every one of them. And it's good to see all other councillors has adopted. So, sorry, councillor. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, can I bring a point of order?
Sorry.
Can I bring a point of order? Is that the standing orders suggest that voting on a question at the request of a councillor, voting on any question shall be recorded. Such a request shall be made before moving on to the next item of business on the agenda. I think if Councillor Sample wanted to request a recorded vote after the fact, but before we move to the next item of business, he should have been able to do so.
I don't believe that's a point of order, councillor, and because
I'm suggesting that that Councillor Sample was actually within his rights to call for a
no, I agree, but there is a protocol, councillor, because should you want to have your voice be recorded, it's on every agenda. I was just going to say that as well. If someone wishes to declare their absent or opposite, then please say it beforehand.
No, that's not what the standing orders say. If Councillor Sample wanted to request a recorded vote after the vote's been taken, but before we move to the next item of business, he's perfectly entitled to do so. That's all I have to say on it. That's what it says in the standing orders.
Well, I apologise for my misrepresentation of standing orders, but that has been the tradition followed by this council. But if that is the case, we shouldn't disregard our own standing orders.
Thank you.
Okay, councillor, please. Alan.
Thank you, Chair. We're back on the original item. I'm happy to support this and happy to propose it.
Okay. We all content? Show of hands. Okay, carried. Right. Almost coming to an end, actually. Oh. 23, Safety at Night Police and Crime Commissioners campaign.
This report introduces the Wiltshire and Swindon Police and Crime Commissioners Safety at Night Charter and invites the council to consider signing the charter. I have summarised what the PCC says about the night charter, and there are full details on the PCC's website. I believe that the City Council plays a role in the nighttime economy, as the City Council is an operator of an evening venue, the Guildhall, and is also a provider of services which contribute to the management of public spaces, for example, CCTV and environmental services. By signing up to the Charter, the Council shows its intent to ensure a better safety at night in Salisbury, where its actions and activities are relevant. In the table in the report, I have attempted to show the Charter action or statement against what SCC is currently or plan to do in response, in order that councillors can be assured that by signing up to this pledge, we are substantially able to meet the requirements of the pledge, and we're not making a hollow promise nor signing ourselves up to something that we couldn't possibly deliver. The Charter does talk about the idea of nominating a safety at night champion, and the council may be minded to consider whether a councillor could be appointed to that role, where they would oversee and take a keen interest in this area of activity of the council. The council may wish to be aware that already signed up locally there's 154 organisations across Wiltshire who have already signed. Locally, the Soroptimists have signed it up, Safer and Supportive Salisbury and the Salisbury Street Pastors, and Royal Wootton Facet Town Council has already signed a pledge. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's an excellent report, and I think we'll certainly be wholeheartedly supporting this. And if you're looking for a champion, I'm happy to volunteer as a chair. But as a chair, I like for us to acknowledge and take the recommendation. Do we have any questions? Yes, Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Chairman. Not a question, more of a statement. I think that the PCC has done a good job as a start with this night charter, and I think the clerk's done a very good job at trying to make it particularly tangible for the City Council. I'd like to see this in terms of the City Council's work as a starting point, and for us to be more ambitious with our work. I think there might be a little bit of a discussion about who's champion, and perhaps we could have a little bit of, or more than one actually, because I know that Councillor Corbyn was very interested in the role as well. And I'm keen, just from my own work, to be supportive of it, not to take on more activities.
Thank you. Noted. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Chairman. I think we should sign up to this. There's been some good work being done over the past couple of years with the Ask Angela campaign being rolled out amongst Wiltshire Council staff. There's now a new initiative about Get Me Home Safely. And I think this is another add-on to that campaign. I'm certainly too old to be out late at night, so I wouldn't want to be named as the person. But I think we should wholeheartedly support this.
Yes, yes. Councillor Hocking first, and then we'll go to Councillor Sample. Okay. Councillor Corbyn, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I wholeheartedly support this. Obviously, we heard from the member of the public with the statement before about trans rights. Obviously, with Salisbury Pride and all the work I did around that, it is important that Salisbury is safe. We had the purple flag before, which was quite a good thing. If this is of the same calibre or better, then I'm all for it, and I would be quite happy to be a champion.
Chair, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Worshipful Mayor, this is an excellent document, and I'm delighted that it's come forward for discussion tonight. I'm pleased that the other local authorities in the county have already signed up to it, and I endorse what's been said about it. I think it's something we should do. I'm really pleased to see that on a number of areas here, that Salisbury City Council's been ahead of the game. We've managed to get several of the things that have been identified, particularly by the Soroptimists and the various working groups that have been looking at, for instance, lighting in the underpasses, the big piece of work that was done, I think, by Liz Batten and lots of councillors in identifying lighting that wasn't working and led to a feeling of unsafeness in the centre of the city, particularly. I think all of that work has shown that we've taken this work forward. So it's a good reminder, and we should definitely endorse it. It has my full support. Someone who enjoys going and seeing some of the DC Comics films that regularly come out. Just been to see one called Flash. I can see that some of the role here coincides with that of the hero Flash in the new film, which can be seen at one of our 2 cinemas at the moment. And I wonder whether a costume comes that you might be able to wear, Mr. Mayor, which will suit you for the task ahead.
Thank you. Noted. Councillor King.
Yes, I do want to support this and just thank the clerk or a member of your team where you put the comparisons down. I think that was a really, really good table, very useful to know where we are. And just to say that I think Councillor Hibbard is very keen on this particular area of work.
Councillor Hocking.
Yeah, just to go back to financial impact nil, the word training comes out in this report at least half a dozen times. Is that training therefore done as with our staff as part of their general role? Or is there additional training specific to this particular policy that they will have to undertake?
I think the training most substantially mentioned is bystander training. And I'm working with several organisations locally to try and get that going. And one in particular organisation is looking at grant funding towards this, and she has in mind that the city councillors and staff would be early participants in the training. However, we do have a staff training budget, of course, and there is also a councillor training budget. So we can use those budgets to provide this